Let Me Wrong, the Troy collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So you wrote that with Troy.
I wrote that with Troy and Leland and Bram Inscore were like the four that have always written for Troy's records. And we were writing for a film, and we were writing from a character's perspective who was misunderstood in the film by his parents. And so I think most people can relate to that in one way or another. And that song just came out really quickly. And instantly, Troy and I remember were like, this is really iconic. Like, we both really fell in love with it. How sort of instant the melody was, how simple it was, and how, I mean, conceptually, it's sort of, to me, it's something that isn't said very often. It's not about, on the surface, you're like, oh, it's probably about somebody abusive or somebody causing you trauma. And it is about that, but it's really about how painful it is when you really love someone and then you grow apart and you still have that love for them, but you're like a different person, you know? And that, to me, that really speaks to like familial relationships mostly, because you have this really intense connection with your parents, you know. Everybody does, for good or for bad. And when you're a kid, you're one way, you know, you haven't really like become your full self yet. And so when you become your full self and all of a sudden you've grown apart, but you still have so much love, but you can't connect, it's difficult. And it's nothing to do with the parents being at fault. It's just sort of circumstantial and tragic. And I also do, I mean, like in my case, like I'm my relationship with my parents is great now, and I don't look back and think that they did anything that was wrong. I feel like we both just struggled at that time, and that's really, when I was writing my lyrics for that song, that's what I was thinking about. But I also know that I have like a huge queer audience, and I feel like, you know, it has a lot of significance in that regard as well, and coming out can be so difficult. And, you know, in Sweden, I added the line, when I decided this was for Cape God and I brought it to Sweden, I kind of like refined it, and we redid the production, and I added the line at the end, no, I'll never be how you remember me, so I'd rather be in your memory. And yeah, like that sort of like sums it up.